Hi everyone! Those of you who follow my channel know that I'm a huge fan of the adventure game genre and I have been playing them since the early 90s. You can find in my channel a lot of retrospectives of iconic adventure game franchises and even a 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. In my more than 25 years of experience playing adventure games, I have seen the birth of franchises, excellent standalone titles, and some crashing flops. When you have played all major and a ton of lesser-known titles, you believe you know what to expect and consider yourself experienced when it comes to knowing the good and the bad of the genre. However, there are times when you can be absolutely amazed by a title that you were unaware of and start second-guessing your own knowledge and ask yourself, how have I missed this? The game of this video is an excellent example of the above, the true definition of a hidden gem that flew under the radar back in the time of its release but gained an almost cult following as the time went by and more gamers came across it and realized what a magnificent game it is. I am talking about Inherit the Earth Quest for the Orb, which we will cover in this video as an effort to let fans of the genre know of an excellent title that they should add to their collection. I have to mention that this game is also appreciated among the fairy fandom, but we will not go there as we will focus on the gaming perspective in this video. Inherit the Earth Quest for the Orb is an adventure game developed by the Dreamers Guild and published by New World Computing in 1994 and later re-released under Wyrmkimp Entertainment. The Dreamers Guild was a small studio founded by Joe Pierce and others that managed to reach 100 employees during its heyday in the mid-90s. What was mainly different about this studio was that the term guild in its title should be taken literally as it functioned as such. Its founders reported that the Dreamers Guild was founded on an open, consensus-driven business model in which employees voted to decide the company's corporate moves. They went out of business in 1997 and are mostly known for the Mac ports of The Legend of Kyrandia games by Westwood Studios and for co-developing another underrated point-and-click title that will certainly be the topic of another video, the game I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Inherit the Earth setting can be classified as a post-apocalyptic in its own special way. The game's opening sequence shows a tapestry depicting humans fleeing from a giant microbe. In a far future, mankind is extinct and Earth is populated by several tribes of anthropomorphic animals known as morphs who have achieved a level of technology equivalent to medieval Europe. Humans are worshipped as gods who have given animals their abilities to speak, handle objects, and even have human-like feelings. Riff of the Fox tribe has traveled far from home with his companion Rene to compete in a puzzle contest. The night before the contest, someone steals the wondrous Orb of Storms, an ancient relic of the humans that has the power to predict the weather, and Riff is accused of being the thief. Riff is able to convince his accusers to give him a chance to find the real thief and recover the orb. Two warriors are assigned to assist and guard Riff in his quest, Ea of the Elk tribe and Oak of the Boar tribe. In addition, Rene is held hostage by the Boar King to ensure Riff does not try to escape. Your goal in Inherit the Earth Quest for the Orb is to guide Riff on his adventure, find clues to locate the real thief, and solve challenges along the way. You can have Riff talk to Oak, Ea, and other morph characters that are encountered during Riff's travel. Riff can pick up items he finds and give these items to others. This is done in a third-person perspective as was typical in most point-and-click adventure games of the time. A lot of the backgrounds were done in the MS-DOS version of Deluxe Paint, which was the equivalent of Photoshop back in the mid-90s. One technique used was hand-painted depth buffers, that is, the artists would create two images for each background, one image representing the colors of the scene and another image where the pixel values were used to indicate the depth of the scene. This was used to mask the characters when they went behind parts of the scenery. It was the first game to use the Dreamers Guild's Saga engine. The graphics library used X-Mode, which was the only way at the time to get MS-DOS to display the colors and the resolution needed. This required the studio to develop their own high-performance graphics library in assembly language. The game's interface resembles a lot the LucasArts CAM engine of that era, as you have 2/3 of the screen where the game takes place and the available action buttons are located at the bottom 1/3 of the screen. The available actions are walk to, look at, pick up, talk to, open, close, use and give. Some of the morphs you meet may be able to answer questions, others may want to ask you a question or two. When a situation arises, such as this, the game display will switch into conversation mode. The game was developed by the Dreamers Guild originally for the DOS platform and later ported for the Macintosh. In 2000, the former Dreamers Guild co-founder Joe Pierce started a new company, Wyrmkeep Entertainment. In 2002, Pierce acquired the rights for the game and self-published the game for Windows and Mac OS. Inherit the Earth was not a commercial success during its release, mostly due to its small duration and large number of fetch quests. It sold fewer than 20,000 copies in its initial run, which was pretty small compared to other games of that time. Reception were mixed. Some reviewers were intrigued by its unique world and original story, but panned it as a game. The German translated Amiga port sold significantly better. However, the game setting is unique and the story captivating, as it has a magnificent dark tone that contradicts its hand-drawn artwork that resembles a children's book of fairy tales. According to one of the original artists and animators, Lisa Jennings, the game ends on a to-be-continued note, as it was originally intended to be part of a trilogy which did not happen due to conflicts between the developer and publisher. These conflicts were the result of the above-mentioned combination of a serious and detailed plot with anthropomorphic animals. As Jennings stated, our biggest conflict was simple. The developers wanted something that was rather adult in nature. The publishers saw animals and equated with children, and so forced the studio at every turn to cater to the 8 to 12 years old range, up to and including removing any death scenes to keep a children's rating. It also didn't help that New World was distributing their products through Electronic Arts, who really didn't want anything to do with the game. There were multiple Kickstarter campaigns to fund the sequels, but none of them reached its goal. In 2015, a Patreon funding drive was launched with the aim to help finish funding the sequel's first of 3 chapters. However, as of today in 2022, the amount has not been reached. The story of the video game is continued in the official webcomic Inherit the Earth, which takes place 10 months after the events of the game. The webcomic is drawn by Alison Hersey, the game's original art designer, and co-written by Joe Pierce, the owner of Wyrmkeep Entertainment. The game has a strange charm for me, mostly because it combines all those themes about the future of mankind and the value we place in our lives, along with some nostalgic hand-drawn visuals. The version that you can find available today at sites like Kinguin.net also has full speech support, which is also another extra for the game. If you are a fan of the adventure game genre, then I suggest you try Inherit the Earth Quest for the Orb. It is a very well made game with a great story, characters and setting. The price tag is also quite attractive, as you can download the full game for $1.50. Do not forget to watch my other videos covering the full history of more iconic adventure game franchises like King's Quest, Space Quest, Quest for Glory, Gabriel Knight, and Leisure Suit Larry. Also, you can find in my channel a 2-hour documentary covering the rise of and fall of the genre. If you like my content, please support the channel by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it. You can also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com. Patrons get to choose the topic of upcoming videos, get exclusive updates, and will also be mentioned in the credits of each new video. You can find the link to patreon.com in the description of this video. Thank you all for watching.